My brothers and sisters, welcome to episode number 59 in the book of Genesis. We're on a sequential walk all the way through Genesis, and today we're going to pause at one of my favorite places in the whole Bible. I'm giving you rainbows. It's where God says, I will remember my covenant that's between me and you. And when the bow is in the clouds, the rainbow is in the clouds, I will see it, God will see it, and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. So the Lord is saying in today's passage, we'll get to it in a second, I'm giving you rainbows for a very special reason. And I, God, am going to respond to rainbows in a special way. So listen in here. This is from Genesis chapter 9, verse 8. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, Behold, I will establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you. So they're just out of the ark right now, just out of the boat. And with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, the beasts of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark, for it is for every beast of the earth. So the covenant is for man and beast, which is cool. Verse 11, 9:11. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. So that's what the covenant's about. Verse 12, and God said, This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, rainbows. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth and the bow is seen in the clouds, I, God, will remember that it is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it, God will see it, and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. So God is going to flesh out this covenant with rainbows. And it's not a one-shot deal. So this wasn't just for Noah. He says this is for Noah and his children and his children. In other words, this promise that God gives about rainbows is not just for Noah, it's for us. And it's also for the beasts too, by the way. And he's saying, I'm not going to cut off flesh and destroy life by flood waters again. There's never again going to be a flood until the end of the world. That's going to be a universal deluge. So this sign is the covenant, and the sign is going to be forever. And what's that sign? It's amazing. It's rainbows. Rainbow is the sign of the Noahic covenant. It's the covenant between me and the earth. So when clouds come and when rainbows are seen, here's the most interesting thing about today is who remembers when there's a rainbow. God says, it's me. I'm the one that's doing the remembering. Now we can remember him doing the remembering, which I think is going to be our teaching point today. So who does the remembering? There's kind of three sentient beings, if you will. One is the beast. I don't think it's them. Second is people, and I think that would be our default answer, but relatively incorrect. It's God. He says specifically, when a rainbow is happening, I am remembering this covenant at that moment. So let's talk about what remembering means from a biblical standpoint. So remembering has a mental aspect to it for sure, which is what we mean by remembering. But biblically, when they talk about remembering, it's acting on behalf of a person based on what they're remembering. So fortunately, God remembers, God promises, and God covenants. This whole business that we're talking about today is 100% dependent upon his character rather than any part of our character. So God says, I will remember when there's a sign. What's the sign? It's the rainbow. So when I am remembering and thinking and acting on your behalf, it's when I bring a rainbow. I want you to know that I am thinking about you. So when you see a rainbow, God is saying, I want you to know right now that I am thinking about you in this remembering and acting on your behalf sort of way and in covenant keeping. So our task is like, wow, are you serious? This is amazing that I know what the thoughts of God are at any moment in time. That is when I see a rainbow. So our task is to remember that God is remembering me right now when he brings the rainbow that I get to see. So he brings rainbows so that I can remember that he is remembering me right now. So who is doing the remembering? Who's doing this thinking about mankind and all beasts and all flesh? It's God. And we know when he is thinking about his covenant. Verse 16, when the bow is in the clouds, I, God, will see it and remember the everlasting covenant. So many of us are just oblivious to this rainbow thing. And if the Bible's true, we have the most beautiful marker of this covenant, which is the rainbow. So here is what the rainbow really means. It means that God is thinking about something right now, and he's committing not to send another flood and judgment, and he's likely exercising this character of himself, which is this divine restraint. That's one thing. So he's holding back, but he's also doing this divine rescue. That's what the whole thing about Noah is about. So though we are covenant breakers, he's the covenant maker and fortunately the covenant keeper. Verse 15, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you. All right, so let's do some conclusions. We are to remember, I think, that God is remembering us. And we can specifically do so when he sends rainbows our way. And let's take back the rainbow in the sense that rainbows recall judgment and rainbows recall rescue. So rainbows mean covenant making and covenant keeping. He's of the covenant making. We're unfortunately of the covenant breaking. This covenant is dependent upon his character rather than our characters. And in that way, rainbows, coalitions, and rainbow flags and rainbow symbols serve to remind us to remember what real rainbows represent, which is when the bow's in the clouds, I will see it and remember, and I will remember my covenant. So when you see a rainbow, remember that God is remembering you when? Right now. More rainbows equals more remembering. So in this context of history of divine judgmently, God is saying, no, at this moment, I'm going to have divine restraint, and also I'm going to have divine rescue and relentless rescuing. So let's look for rainbows. Let's look for moments when you know that he's thinking about you. And he's saying, I'm holding back judgment, which is justice. I'm holding back what you actually deserve. I'm giving you mercy. And in fact, I'm giving you rescue. I'm giving you myself, which is grace. God is giving us rainbows. Thanks for listening.